We are back. Welcome, everybody. We get caught up in your business. Ahava. It is Artist Week, y'all.
That's one of our favorite weeks, you guys. So I'm excited to be able to share with you guys Kamil.
Yes.
Amazing metal sculpture. Is that what you call it? Metal sculpture?
Metal sculptor? Yeah.
Yes, artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's going to be an amazing show tonight. So
yeah,
before we get into that, where can they reach us?
Shout out to Raviel for the music.
Shout out to Ravi.
And
hit him up on SoundCloud, you guys. Listen to his music. He's so dope.
Yes, he is. And he brings us in every week, so he got to be somebody.
Right.
So how you guys can reach us, you guys can reach us everywhere. You know, because I tell you every week that we love to hear from you. So please, by all means, go to Ahava Kai on the YouTube.
Yes.
And live chat with us. Or you can go to sourceradio.com and chat with us there too. Because we love to hear your comments. We love to read and get all the good stuff.
Yes.
And then you can hit us up on Twitter at AhayaEDU.
Yeah, shout out to Twitter. Our Twitter fam, they really be supporting us. Most of our views come from Twitter, believe it or not.
That's right. That's right. We love our Twitter people. Yeah. We are trying to get our YouTube fans up. Yes. So Twitter people, if you want to get pot in the replay, go to YouTube and like, share, and subscribe and all those fancy things that they say to do.
Yeah.
Or you guys, they can even go to, you can hear us on Alexa, Amazon Alexa, or Amazon Podcast, Spreaker, Apple, Deezer, iTunes, iHeart, all the things, y'all.
All the things.
Yeah, including Spotify. And if you want to reach out to us personally, ask a question or, get some more information about how to be on the show, you can go to Ahaya, the letter K, consulting at gmail.com.
There you go. Hit us up.
We want to hear from y'all because there's lots to talk about all the time.
And shout out to our sponsors, you guys. Yeah. We have some amazing sponsors. We got Ahava Kai Consulting, which is us together. Mm-hmm. Kai Management, Earth Babies, some wonderful laundry soap, and Ahava Financial Education, where you can get all your financial needs, and 13 Crystalline.
Yes.
You can tell them about that.
13 Crystalline, you guys. You can go and get some herbal detoxes, remedies, nutritional consultations, because it is real in these mean streets of germs. Okay.
Yes, it is.
But we just want to, align ourselves as much as possible and just get the knowledge and education on how to do that. So
yeah, and then we got Ahava Living. I'm really excited about Ahava Living, you guys. I can't wait to just pour it all out to you.
Yes.
But what I'm most excited about is that Ahava Living is going to start a resort, and we have Kamil, which is our feature artist, is going to be doing some interior designing, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
That's going to be outstanding. I'm so happy for that. And actually, it's interesting. He does so much. Like I've known him for a long time. I've worked with him before. He was actually one of my first, cust clients, as you can call. And but he has branched out into so many different genres, and but he's remained himself, and the integrity of his work has remained there. And I feel like most artists want to be able to be expressive and hit different types of, like be more expansive in their work and have different types of venues that they can choose to express themselves. They just don't know how to do it. But there is a way. And I feel like the first part is just really staying true to yourself as an artist and as an individual.
So important.
Yeah.
It's so important to be able to do that, especially when you're doing it for the culture, and that is so Kamil. Like when you look at his art, you can know that it just represents culture.
Yeah. And who he is. And he has a very unique point of view.
Yeah.
And you can see, if you look at his stuff, oh my God, that's Kamil Peters' work.
Right.
And that's pretty phenomenal, for someone who is still up and coming after, decades of hard work. Yeah. But I really appreciate what he has brought to the table and the amazing expensiveness that is about to unfold.
I'm excited for them. I'm excited for really all artists that's able to brand themselves that way, because it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
It takes consistency.
Always.
And you just have to be really dedicated.
Yeah. And another thing we spoke about on a previous show is having a business plan and having a focus so that you know what it is and how to get to reach those goals.
So much easier.
So much easier because when you have a fumbling.
Yes, when you have a plan, it's easier to stay focused, because without it, you're gonna be bouncing from here to here to here, like you forget what your goal even was in the beginning, and you just get easily distracted. I know for me as a business woman that I can just dibble dabble in just about anything, but if I don't have a plan, or if I have a plan, I'm able to remain focused and just dibble dabble in my plan.
Dibble dabble in the plan. Girl.
Okay,
come on.
Stay focused. So there's so much you have to work on within your own business. That's and sometimes you forget you don't really need to do this over here or this over here. Like you just gotta stay focused on that one thing.
What they say, stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your vision. How about that? Keep your vision right and keep checking in. It can change. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
If you're finding that some things are not working, your strategies are not are giving you the results that you're used to or wanting, then try again. There's nothing wrong with starting over or fresh or having a different perspective. And even sitting down, having a consultation with someone like us who have a different view and can bring you some great tips on how to make that work. But girl, if you ain't got that master plan, that plan ain't gonna work out.
What do they say? When you're in a little bit of everything, you don't get nothing done.
That part,
yeah.
And so that is the main part.
That is the main part.
But suffice to say, you can be very versed in a lot of things and make it work in your lane.
True.
But you don't have to wear every hat.
Yes.
You can. It's okay to especially in a visual artistry. You can be more expressive and fluid in that way. Different businesses obviously call for different things, but being that it's Artist Week, we're gonna talk about these artists. And it's okay to express it. Some people might want to mix genres of music, right?
Yeah.
And there's a way to do it. So if I wanted to have a little country twang in my R&B flavor. Who's to say I can't do it as long as I'm doing it right? Right. But I'm not trying to market myself as such. I'm just have to stay in my lane.
Yep, stay in your lane.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting. We have so many amazing questions for Kamil. We're going to have a little bit of a video to
I'm really
see how he does what he does, painting with fire.
Yeah. And before we get into him, you guys, let's talk about how you can actually reach us.
Yes.
And so that way, if you do need help, getting your brand, established, or you need help with your plan, be able to stay focused, you can book a consultation with us. So
that's right.
Go to shopblackenterprise.com, click on your business planning tab. And if you need any financial help, you need help, like maybe you need a loan, need a business loan, a personal loan. It's tax season too, guys.
Ooh,
and so if you need help filing your taxes,
we got the people. We got the people.
So we got you. And so just go to Ahava Financial Education and go ahead and just book a consultation. And whatever your needs are, then we're able to help you with that. And then Kai Management.
Yes, come to Kai Management. If you are interested in a revamp on what you currently have, if you don't have a website, you need a sales funnel, you need a way to direct the people to buy your things, a strategy, a marketing strategy, so people know how to see you on all social media platforms, etc.
Yes.
Come and holler. And if you are interested in having us both, just go to Ahava Consulting and we will hook you up for a good flavor. But you have to be a merchant on Shop Black Enterprise to get the discount.
Yes. And please be a merchant. There's so many great benefits of being a merchant. And it's only like, what, $9, $8 a month?
It's less than $10.
Less than $10.
You know what we're going to do? Next week, we're going to have to really like list out the benefits because I don't think we focused on that enough.
We haven't. And so we need to do these. We're going to actually, it's Mel's Corner next week. That'd be a perfect time to talk about Shop Black Enterprise, so you guys can really see these benefits, and you need to take advantage, so that way you can get your sales up, you can get more your business exposed, and it'll be a beautiful thing. So we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Good for you.
Now let's go ahead and bring on Kamil, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and tap into this video. Noni, I'll let you introduce him because you know him. I don't really know him yet like that. And so tell the audience about Kamil Peters.
Okay. So Kamil Peters, he is a young and upcoming metal sculptor out of Holyoke, Massachusetts, by way of Amherst, Massachusetts. Big ups to the hometown. He is studied and versed in metal and also in woodworking. Thank you. He studied at the university. I think he didn't go to UMass. He went to Holyoke, I believe. And he is here to tell his story, you guys. He's just a local phenomenon, and he's expanding as we speak. So I will let his video show you how he does his magic.
So basically with the different So basically with the different temperatures, you're creating more different textures.
Yes. Painting with fire.
That is insanity.
Well done, sir.
Well done.
So then I can take, say, a piece like this. But see that's almost like a layer of ash sitting on there now. I have to seal that before, if I rubbed it right now, it would leave like streaks and stuff.
So basically, you could even do that as another technique.
That's amazing.
This is the technique, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm using paint, but I'm burning it to the point where the fire is leaving a texture. You can't redo that. So then I can shine up behind there, do like a corrosive process that gets behind these marks, and then shine the top up again.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
Are we
Bravo! That was Kamil Peters, you guys. And without further ado, my brother, I would love to bring on Kamil Peters.
How's it going?
Hey, Kamil. Good. How is it going? I think you're a little low.
Low in the volume.
Oh, there you go. Now I can hear you.
Can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is wonderful.
We love to have you. So that was a throwback from I think 2014, maybe.
Oh, wow. That's a long time ago.
It's sort of aging my work or myself, that is. But
well, the reason why I bring it up is because that was a pivotal point where you had just started using that type of technique, and the process in and of itself was just absolutely amazing. How you would drip it on and all that stuff. It's just incredibly beautiful. I don't know the procedure. I don't know the technical terminology, but
it's amazing.
It is amazing. But first, without further ado, let the people know who you are and where you come from, what you're doing, and all the good stuff.
Yeah, my name is Kamil Peters. I've been a metal sculptor for 15-something years now, according to that video. Things have been going great. I did end up at Hampshire College, sort of after I think the bookmark you left there, and that was a wonderful pivot into who I've become to this day. As a Baldwin scholar, it gave me a chance to look at the world through a different lens. So creating work that's based in my culture, sort of the homage to who we are. As you can see, everything I do reflects us and our history in many, many ways. So I started working with young people through the Department of Youth Services and other avenues, bringing in young men that were previously incarcerated. I'd become their first reference in many ways, but I started to use the medium of metal to teach a little bit of math, science, and history, just as a hands-on approach, as something, I think our schools deter our young folks, especially the ones that may be getting in trouble. And I relate to that very well. I had some of those same issues coming up. So I felt if there was a way to reach somebody beyond the chalkboard, would it change their view? And being a Baldwin scholar, the whole concept in many ways was, you can teach an old dog new tricks if they were given the silver spoon although they weren't born with it, the environment change could lend to them taking on anew. And I really did. So I felt working with young people and bringing them into my shop, letting them gain this accessibility that's not really out there. To have a full metal shop like this, it costs quite a bit. It's a bit to maintain it, and to decide that this is what you like to do. Before you spend the money, I want people to, So I've a good 10 years of doing that. I currently have a class with 11-year-olds. I have a class with a group of kids from Hampshire College again. And so it's been, the teaching is always going to be a thing for me. In the future, I'm projecting in the next 2 or so, I'll be looking more towards like a sustainable farming approach. When you're working with, especially young men of color that have been involved in the industrial complex in any way, shape, or form, whether it's jail or schools, if I find bringing them into a large brick building is reminiscent of a form of oppression in many ways. So if I could bring them to a farm, have a bonfire, pull food out of the ground, work with some animals, and then still do the artistic work through metal and wood and so on and so forth. It's more of a well-rounded approach to trying to pay homage to our young men, and instead of letting them pass through a program and then on to the next thing. So
I love it. That's brilliant.
It is.
That's wonderful.
So my work really consists of anything I can sort of do. It's all fun and games until something, right?
Until rent is due.
Yeah.
So since you've only been doing this for about 15 years, have you? How long have you been? Was you a different type of artist before then, or like what made you pick up metal?
So my mom would say I was a different kind of artist for sure. She was always my biggest cheerleader, greatest representative. Her office space had been my gallery since first grade. So I think she still has a couple pieces that I'm like, how did you? And it's amazing to see, because that type of support does lead you in a direction. I guess I knew back then that I wanted to be an artist, and because it was constantly honed and shined and polished, through my mother, especially, here I am, all these years later. So I tried many different mediums, from jewelry making, painting, charcoal. Nothing really stuck. When I was doing jewelry, it was too small. And when I actually got to Hampshire College, this class of 06, that's our beginning year, I found a blacksmithing, intro to blacksmithing course. And I remember walking around with the first thing that I made. It was this metal spoon. And I had it on my inside pocket, my buddy's restaurant. And I'm like, you got to check out what I made, man. Oh, my dad. And his dad's there. And he's like, yeah, we got to hook you up with our buddy Wink. Like, what? What's that? So this is an old buddy of theirs from Fells Point, Baltimore. And so my first summer, I ended up doing an apprenticeship for the summer with a man named Charles Winkler, who took me from an intro to blacksmithing kind of guy to learning the process of blending steel and cutting and busting stuff up and, really digging in deep. So I'd say he taught me everything I know. And without the opportunity through Hampshire or of Hampshire to generate that, I wouldn't be where I am now. So
you
metal.
Really... I'm sorry. I was just saying you have a really unique art tool that you use to create your art. The material that you use to create your masks, are you still using old propane tanks to do that?
Oh man, that was Wink's biggest joy, I would say. And God rest him there. He found objects, discarded objects. The concept of there not being a such thing as nothing. Even the smallest thing counts as something. So to keep metal from going into a recycling / whatever and refurbishing it and turning it into something amazing that someone will cherish. Yes, I cut up propane tanks, oil tanks, anything I can get my hands on that, especially the propane tanks that we use on our grill, because it's something we recognize, and that bell curve is great. With a bit of blacksmithing, I empty the tanks out, and then I have this raw material that has this history or story to it. And to me, it's about the stories. Where was this thing beforehand? Did somebody cherish it? Right? It made it nice, but there are pieces of wood that I get that come from early times, and pieces of metal as well, that come from early times that become sacred. I have an auger bit in a sculpture that my grandfather used to build his house on Thompson Street in Springfield. So those pieces become immortalized and something you can pay homage to when they're trapped into a sculpture that we, now can reference that way.
I remember you showing me wood that was made from termites, or termites had actually gotten into the wood, and it created this beautiful, it was so beautiful, the texture that they
It's like, where is it at?
burrowed in. Are you looking for it? Do you have some? Oh my God. I'll never forget it. It was because I didn't even know that was a thing,
Yeah.
And I
Well,
haven't seen anything like
that's something that the logger will throw away, and I
Yeah.
find beauty in that mistake. And nature, as magnanimous and awesome as she is, that's something that, how do we put an emphasis on this quote unquote mistake thing to be discarded? I want to highlight that. I want us to recognize that. So yeah, I anything like that, Noni, if I get my hands on it, coming with me. And I still have that piece because I'm like, now what do I do with it? Because it's so sacred.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
10 years later, I'm still staring at it.
Right. It's hard because it's a one of a kind. It's like,
that's so funny. You was telling me, because we have talked for a little bit, about Ohio living, and you was talking about this piece of wood that is very ancient. I know you were speaking a little bit about the wood, but can you talk a little bit more about this culture wood that you also use that takes us back to our roots?
Okay, yeah. So this is southern yellow pine. There's heart pine. There's quite a few. I tend to get my hands on the southern yellow pine. So this is wood that after the Civil War, we reclaimed, or say took back the ammo, the guns, the gold, and the trees. And we shipped these trees up here. Southern yellow pine it grows a little wider, a little taller, a little straighter. And, trees from that time, the growth pattern was of the rings a lot thicker, so it's a stronger wood, especially for pine in comparison to what we have today. And this is the wood that we use to build the industry that we know. So all the brick buildings of Holyoke and the surrounding cities of Massachusetts and even the surrounding states, when the North built out, I'll never forget my grandmother saying going to Holyoke, Massachusetts was like the Big Apple before the Big Apple was the Big Apple, and we get to go to Holyoke today. Like what? We'll never fully understand that history, but these beams were chopped out of these trees and became the infrastructure of the brick buildings. And so now that some of those buildings are finally, after all these years, starting to come down, I do what I can to jump in there and grab a few pieces, and I'll turn them into tables, involve them with my art as much as possible. But it tells a story. It tells a story of Elizabeth Freeman and the Emancipation Proclamation, and when that was signed, how that went down for our people, and what that stuff being shipped up here did for industry in general. And this stuff has been cryogenically saved almost. You could say, being trapped in these buildings, and when I pull it out, it might have some lead paint or stuff like that on it, but we have a safe means of removing it, and it just comes back to life, so vibrant and beautiful that I try and involve it in as much as I can. So some of the estates that I've built out through the company Shared Estates, there are a few in the Berkshires that, the dining room table, one is called the Freeman Estate, in homage to Elizabeth Freeman. And I did a large sculpture of her face made out of oil tanks and other found objects.
Wow.
But the table itself is a 17-foot long, dining room table that is to bring us all together, in that level of such a large supper. But it's this reclaimed wood that came back to life. So
Wow.
this, like I said, the story is huge for me.
That's just amazing. Where is your studio located? Is it
In Ludlow, Massachusetts? I was in Holyoke for a little more than a decade. I started off there with a group of colleagues. We started a company, or built a company, called Brick Co-Workshop. And so it was a few colleagues from Hampshire College, a few others from like BU, another one who was a Hampshire alum from years and years before. But, we all kind of serendipitously, I'd say that the stars were aligned, and we occupied this building space. So we had a wood shop, glass, metal, concrete, machine shop, painters, and you name it. And it started off as a bit of an incubator, I would say, for a business to come in and occupy a smaller space. And as it started to grow, eventually grow itself out of that space and onto wherever it's going to take itself in the world. I actually could say I sort of used that exact model and incubated myself out of my own business. And I was sort of under the umbrella of Brick Co-Workshop, and a bunch of great friends still, over there. I'll never leave that behind. I started off in 1,000 square feet. About 5 years into being there, a 3,000 square foot space opened up that was in the same building. So stayed there for another 3 years.
Wow.
4 years. And then, COVID hit, things weren't going so great, but the opportunity to take over this space in Ludlow, which is 6,000 square feet, tall ceilings, more of an open warehouse space. The price was pretty equivalent, and it just made sense. So my business has grown exponentially in the last 10 years to a very oversized space, to say the least. I don't know if you can see it in the back there. Some of the lights are on through that window.
Oh, that's the space. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. I'll try and give you a little tour. If it doesn't break up too much, we can walk out there.
I do want to let the listeners know that if you cannot see what the slides that we have here showing his work of these masks, then please go to our YouTube channel, Ahava, so you can be able to watch it live, so you can see this amazing work that we're looking at right now. Because it's unbelievable. When I look at your work, I think of my mom. It brings me back to my mommy, because she just loves just African art. Like if you go to her house, there's just tons of masks and stuff. She would love this stuff, and I just love it. I love the culture in all of your pieces. Like it's just I never see nothing like it.
Thank you.
Truly.
Thank you. Yeah.
And those were not small.
Oh, they're big. Those masks are big.
Yeah.
The last
I'm 5 feet. They were at least 3 or 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, very beautiful.
And this woman that you have right here,
That's him. Oh, wait,
that's
sorry.
you. Come on.
All right, we gotta go back.
Oh.
Go back.
Wow. Okay, so how do you do the hair? Like, I mean, how long did it take for you to do that?
You want to know what's so crazy? Is that the client who purchased that just gifted it back to me.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
It has been gone for more than a decade. He purchased it. This is, at that time, that purchase was such an amazing gift. And so well needed. I mean, I have two wonderful, beautiful children, and we've been living off of this, my business for some time now. And I'll never forget, that was, one of my first bigger sales, and he actually became a client over the course of the last decade. And we're collaborating right now on a very large project that we're building out of my shop space. And he decided, I think I want to give that back to you, because you just got to promise you'll never sell it. And
wow.
didn't ask me for any money, so I got to say, sometimes it just comes full circle. But this is, when you look, because I like that you have the circle masks right next to it. So those are propane tanks, but this one is also propane tanks, where the first two, it's only 3 or 4 pieces, very simple. This one is about 200 pieces, maybe more. I can't really remember, but it's working the steel, but also cutting it up and welding it back together. The hair is all bike chains and metal rope, which you'll find on the highway.
That's so cool.
And so it's all discarded materials. It's not a cast, which is, people have asked me before. It's just building from sort of the inside out, the same with the giraffe that's over the head. That started off one piece at a time, sort of slapping them together. You get the nose, and there's this thing, so we could call it a formal language almost, where if those horns with the balls and the ears didn't come out to the side, then it could be a horse. But we recognize once it has that our mind can relate us to it, so.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pieces.
I love it. And then we have, go ahead, sorry.
Do you still have that piece, or is that sold?
The giraffe?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I'm officially selfish with some of that stuff, because, I made that with Wink, or that was like right after. And there's one mask that I made that I wouldn't call it desperation, but, you just start selling stuff. I mean, these circle masks, I've probably made 700 of them at least by now. Yeah. Each one is its own, but they're that same circle, and they're all over the country.
Yeah,
so
they're phenomenal.
They share a name, they share emotions that somebody related to that specific thing. And, so the one mask that I sort of made with Wink, I ended up selling that to somebody for some very delicious food. They run a great restaurant called Gypsy Apple out this way. But, I think back to it, the food is gone, that mask is still there, and my hands were on it with Wink, So it's all right that it's gone. I know where it is. I love those people, but getting this head back was just, I couldn't ask for more,
Yeah.
And so stuff like the giraffe, and when I think about how much work I put into those, like, the older you get, the more it's like, how do I just
more sentimental? Yeah. So you also have you basically renovated the entire restaurant of High Horse, which is still one of my favorites. I don't know if it's still in Amherst, Mass, but it's not there. Oh my God, that's so sad.
It is.
I'm crying a little bit.
But this is metal and wood right here.
Yeah,
yeah.
Is that all metal? Is that the ship?
Oh, the Viking ship. Yeah. So that is a tap system that serves about 40 was it 35 beers or something?
Yeah.
And so yeah, he wanted something like a Viking ship. It had to have its functionality to it, and I mean, we miss the High Horse so much. It is
So
now
yeah.
called the Drake, and the person running it is amazing. I mean, they pulled me in to do the new sign. So, unfortunately, in my line of work, I have seen businesses come up and go down. But the High Horse and its legacy, he had a very specific vision, and my type of work was in tune with what what he
Very much
saw.
so.
So there
Yeah.
was lighting and the footrest and book ends, you name it. And he kind of let me go wild in there. So
Yeah. Very beautiful stuff. So that just leads me to thinking about how you'd be working with a higher living, because just down to the detail, it's just really impressive how you were able to do that. But we do have some tips that we would like to offer, because I know that you have a few different projects that you're working on, and they are all in their own uniqueness, and but they still keep in line with the work that you're doing. So we have some pro tips that we want to go through, if that's all right.
Yes. And before we get into the pro tips, I just want to let you know I'm super excited about A High Living, about you just doing your thing, your creativity and just really letting you flow. Like, my vibe is your vibe. And so I'm just very excited to see what you come up with and how beautiful it's going to be. And you guys and the listeners, he also does wood too. Also,
Yes.
as long with metal, we didn't really display a lot of the woodwork here, but you do it all. Lightings, light fixtures, literally everything. And I'm really excited about this. Super excited. So I just wanted to tell you that on air. Let it be known on air.
Thank you.
But some of our pro tips that we have for you is to create a business plan. You've been in business for 15 years, I guess now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you actually have a business plan created. You do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay,
Yay.
good. So that'd be great. And another thing we was thinking about is establishing a holding company for you, because you have all these different brands and different collaborations together. If you have a holding company, so that way we can start getting you some funds.
I've been talking about and looking to do the paperwork. I have a meeting on the 28th of this month to start generating paperwork to become a nonprofit. One of the issues I ran into working with the Department of Youth Services and one of their sub companies, you could say, was just that I'm not in control. So it's almost like I got to see the belly of the beast, where kids come through the program, funding runs out, and the kids are out of the program, and there's nothing there for them, and I want to be able to create more of a tracking system that works with a young person from junior high through the rest of grade school to push them on a track of, and so the nonprofit would kind of, or whether that would be a holding company necessarily, we got a couple different businesses going on right now, and by we, I mean me. In collaboration with a couple of buddies. Kamil Nolan is a brand that creates one of the masks I think he showed. So it's taken my work to sort of another level with a painterly approach. And his work and we're going to really push that towards the gallery scene / anywhere else that seems, to fit. Another company I've started just recently as well is Mojo Metals, and that's with me and a good friend Julian Helper at Steelhead Studios. He is another metal worker who's part of Brickco Workshop now, and we're doing large sculpture, large exterior, more of an artistic approach. I think I sent you that boot that we just installed. I might have texted to you, but that's sort of the grand nature of where him and I are going. And so now there's 3 companies, mine, these two alike and the Diesel Works that wants to work with young people. So
Right.
Where the holding company comes into play is something I'm definitely very interested in gaining some more information from you for sure.
So yeah, we actually have as a separate tip to actually get a .org for your children's program. And that is definitely going to be separate than your holding company. You can go under it if you want to, but you should certainly have a nonprofit so that you can have people funding specifically to you, and that way you can track where the money's going and how it's being used. And
Yes.
It's just all for the taking.
You can definitely auction some of your work too for your children's program. I
Mhm.
mean, people will, I know, will be able to. You get a lot of great money coming in from your work, from
Yeah.
being auctioned off, just dedicated for the children. One, people love children,
Yep.
and then people love your work. You put them together, that's a lot of money right
It's
there.
just a good combo, like spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah.
Spaghetti meatballs,
But one thing that I really think that you should do though is create a portfolio for where you're going. Like you have things a little bit of everywhere, but you really are trying to separate yourself right now and go more into like commercial. I feel like it's more of like commercial work, more of like just bigger projects, instead of the one-on-one thing. I think you're just a luxury, a higher, what am I trying to say? Just a high-end
luxury,
yes,
designer.
Yes, all that
worker,
is you. And if you like partnered with maybe some different construction companies that are that the high end, doing like high end things like at resorts or spas or different buildings and the high end buildings, and partner with them so that way you can do some of your work for them. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because that's what that boot was for. Is for a large construction company out of Boston, the Boston area, and that was sort of the first time I broke ground doing something like that. But it wasn't direct; it was through a company called Modvic, and so he was an intermediary there. I like what you're saying because I do feel you have to make it to a certain platform in order to be recognized. If I was in my 1,000 square foot space, it wouldn't be treated as sort of same there. But now that we're starting, I have the portfolio pieces. So this is something I've said a few times to my buddies, like we got to put a portfolio together that just lets people see us, 3x5 card that invite you to our Instagram and our website and so on and so forth. And so it's all happening. And I kind of coined 2023 because it was a little rough bumbling through the last couple years of COVID. And, I'd say I got very lucky in that I was doing more commercial work and all of a sudden it just immediately transferred to residential. People aren't opening up a new business. Now they want to make their house nice. And I was able to find an avenue there. But now businesses are starting to come back. And I'm trying to be ready for that. So I think the direct attack on, construction companies, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, but where's the portfolio, right? So it's not a chicken or the egg anymore. We got to get this egg going, and then. So
we're here to help. So we'll make that connection, and it should be in line with what you're trying to convey. You've already got what it is that you need. It just needs to be put down on the paper.
I think we're so close. Hopefully, I'm one of your easier, or we could say more fast track clients, that comes through the show because I'm ready. But as we know, and I've been realizing, there's only so many hats you can wear. Do not ask me to write a grant. Who's doing it for me?
No, you need a team. You need a team. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so the artist needs to be left to do the art. And the more I realize that, the more it's like calling all cars. How do we make this fly? And this is just perfect timing, I gotta say.
You definitely need management. But real quick, because we're a little bit over time, can you help people or guide people on how they can reach you? How can they buy your work? Where can they contact you? All the things.
Yeah, the website has an easy form. I mean, I will say I'm pretty old school, so my telephone is a direct connect. Facebook at Kamil Peters is wonderful. Through Instagram, you can message. I mean, all of these are perfect. If you contact me either way, I'll normally respond with some type of email or something and my phone number, and we'll get on the phone, because I'm old school like that. But these
we're gonna have to automate you, because you might have a lot of people ringing up your phone. So.
Yeah, well, we might have to.
That's right. And also, if people would like to donate, for your art as well, they can at your Cash App, which is K as in kite, M as in Mary, Peters, P-E, T as in Tom, E-R-S, and the number 2. So KM Peters 2 for Cash App. And I think that would
send them some donations. Thank you so much, Kamil, for joining the show. We appreciate you. I'm sure this wouldn't be the first time that you're going to be on. We look forward to seeing your work and stuff, and the work from Ahava Healing or Ahava Living. Then we'll have you back again, so we'll be able to display the whole, make a video or something of it, because it's going to be amazing.
That's definitely it. You definitely should have more video.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time has come. Well, I can't thank you enough for inviting me on the show. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to how we can collaborate in the very near future.
Yes, thank you so much, Kamil.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon.
All right, appreciate you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, you guys. So next week we have Mel's Corner. And so we're super excited. Mel's the owner of the radio show, Source Radio Network. We're going to talk about Shop Black Enterprise.
Yes, we are.
And just pick his brain. Mel is just a genius, you guys, as you guys know.
Y'all don't even know. Super genius.
He is. And so I'm really excited to pick his brain about that next week, and just be educated.
Yeah.
I always learn something on Mel's Corner.
Yeah. We had a great time today. I'm so excited that you guys joined us. Listen, support the arts, you guys. It is so imperative.
Send them a donation, you guys.
Yes. Cash App to KM Peters and the number 2.
Yes.
Go check out his work at KamilPeters.com. Replay the video and our live broadcasting at youtube.com/@High.
All praises to the Most High, connected to the Most High, below to the Most High.
It's all up in your business. Give it up to the Most High.
I do it for the Most High. I do it for the Most High.